Writing a compare and contrast essay. A compare and contrast essay examines the similarities and/or differences between two topics. There are many ways to organize a compare and contrast essay. Sometimes a compare and contrast essay focuses on the similarities between two topics. Other times, a writer may focus on the differences between two topics. Finally, a writer may choose to examine both similarities and differences. We often discuss both when we explore making a choice or a decision between two things. For example, consider an essay that compares two different cars someone is interested in buying. A writer might compare the similarities and differences between the two cars, and then say which one he or she likes best. Like an essay, a compare and contrast essay has an introduction, several body paragraphs, and a conclusion. The introduction first introduces the two topics being compared. It then gives important background information about the two topics. Finally, it finishes with a thesis statement that explains whether the essay will focus on similarities, differences, or both similarities and differences. Read the thesis statement. Will the essay focus on similarities, differences, or both?
Although online and traditional classes have similar objectives, each has its own specific advantages.
This thesis suggests that the author will focus on both similarities and differences between online and traditional classes. Notice the writer's use of although to make this contrast clear to the reader. Now look at another thesis statement. There are a number of ways my life has changed since becoming a parent for the first time. In this essay, the writer will focus on ways her life is different since she first became a parent. Now let's examine another thesis statement.
Growing up in a foreign country was like navigating a ship at sea.
Notice how the writer sets up a similarity using the word like. This is a simile, or a comparison of two different things. The essay will focus on how growing up in a foreign country was similar to navigating a ship at sea. The body paragraphs. We can organize the body paragraphs of a compare and contrast essay in different ways. One way is called point by point. In a point-by-point essay, you choose 3 or more key points to compare. Often writers will focus on 3 specific similarities. The first body paragraph will focus on the first similarity and compare both topics together. The second body paragraph will focus on the second similarity, and the third on the third similarity. Notice that writers often choose to write about the topics in the same order in each body paragraph. This makes the paragraphs parallel and consistent. Alternatively, a writer may prefer to focus only on the differences between two topics. In this case, each body paragraph will focus on one specific difference between the two topics. Another form of the compare and contrast essay is a similarities and differences essay. This organization can be best when you want to explain why one subject is better than the other subject. The first body paragraph explains what is similar about the two subjects. The second paragraph explains what is different about the two subjects. And the third body paragraph discusses the most important similarities and differences. The conclusion. The conclusion of a compare and contrast essay summarizes the similarities and/or differences discussed in the essay. Writers often restate the thesis statement from the introduction, but in different words. In this example summary, notice how the writer also restates the specific differences from her body paragraphs. In addition, the conclusion often ends with the writer's opinion about the topic. We often call these the writer's final thoughts. In a compare and contrast essay, writers may reflect on whether the differences are positive or negative. Which does this writer focus on? In this example, the writer talks about how her life is better since she had her first child. Thus, she concludes that the differences, or changes, are positive.